5 gallons of stage blood, and a prosthetic head wired to detonate. Quentin Tarantino shot it all just to throw the censors off his scent. When the ratings board demanded cuts, he sacrificed that crimson firework and quietly kept the far more disturbing basement sequence. Most fans never learn the trade-off, and that's exactly how Tarantino wanted it. What follows is the untold back-alley history of Pulp Fiction. The video store promises, the studio fistfights, the scenes erased on purpose, and the 30-year echo still rattling Hollywood's teeth. The story begins behind a dusty counter in Manhattan Beach, California. In 1988, clerks Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avary rented tapes by day and wrote feverishly by night, trading tales of hard-boiled crooks, twisty timelines, and pulp magazine grit. Out of their marathon brainstorms came an orphan script fragment called Pandemonium Reigns. It followed a boxer, a gold watch, and a pawn shop ruled by a masked sadist. Avary's pages were raw, banjo-tight dialogue, sudden violence, and a sense that anything could happen. Tarantino trimmed, repurposed, and polished the fragment for almost 2 years, grafting it into a larger tapestry that would become Pulp Fiction. Their friendship would soon fracture, but that DNA, equal parts Avary's nihilism and Tarantino's rhythm, never washed out of the film. Hollywood executives recoiled the moment they read it. One Columbia TriStar exec allegedly slammed the script on a table and called it the worst thing we've ever seen. Characters overdose and survive. Heroes die, then pop back up in earlier timelines. Violence is funny one moment and nauseating the next. Studio notes came back with the same refrain: too violent, too talky, too weird. The suits worried the heroin scenes alone could sink the movie. By summer 1993, every major backer had walked, except the Weinsteins. Miramax, newly purchased by Disney, smelled blood and opportunity. Harvey Weinstein offered Tarantino final cut and an $8.5 million budget. There was a catch. Everyone, including A-listers, would work for scale, roughly $20,000 a week. That equal pay strategy shaved $500,000 off costs and let the filmmakers splurge elsewhere, tracking shots, vintage cars, and an unforgettable surf guitar soundtrack. Casting the film turned into a knife fight. Tarantino wanted the washed-up star of Grease, John Travolta, to play Vincent Vega. Weinstein threatened to yank funding, lobbying hard for Daniel Day-Lewis and Sean Penn. Tarantino dug in, Travolta or nothing. The actor accepted a brutal pay. Cut $140,000 versus the multi-million checks he once commanded, but the role resurrected his career and earned an Oscar nod. Samuel L. Jackson nearly lost the part of Jules Winfield to character actor Paul Calderon. Furious, Jackson barged back into casting, greasy burger in hand, and unleashed the profanity-laced sermon that now anchors the film. A studio executive mistakenly called him Mr. Fishburne during the audition. Jackson used the insult, turned the air blue, and walked out with the role. Matt Dillon hesitated over the script, wondering if he could flip Butch for Vincent. By dawn, Bruce Willis swooped in, snapped up Butch without reading twice, and used his international star power to pre-sell foreign distribution, effectively bankrolling the entire movie before cameras rolled. Uma Thurman wasn't even on the original shortlist. She found the script disgusting, but one marathon lunch with Tarantino convinced her to gamble. That gamble minted Mia Wallace, cigarette poised, black bob shining on posters from Paris to Tokyo. With cameras rolling, Tarantino shot more footage than he could ever use. He filmed Marvin's death as a full cranial eruption, prosthetic skull, blood cannons, gray matter spraying the windshield. He knew the MPAA would pounce, so he built the grenade specifically to be cut. When the board demanded a trim, Tarantino surrendered the exploding head and quietly kept the far creepier basement sequence. He used the same sleight of hand on the GIMP. In an excised prologue, we learn the masked captive was once a hitchhiker kidnapped 7 years earlier, beaten into obedience and hung by a rope whenever he slept. The more detail Tarantino removed, the more unsettling the character became. Other lost moments softened or sharpened different edges. Mia Wallace originally whipped out a handheld camcorder and peppered Vincent with rapid-fire questions. Beatles or Elvis? Boxers or briefs? The exchange established her as a playful interrogator and explained why she later teases that an Elvis man should love Jack Rabbit Slims. Tarantino loved the scene. He cut it anyway because it slowed the pulse. Dealer Lance delivered a 3-minute Valley Rage monologue about a gas station attendant who sent him on a 40-minute detour. It mirrored Vincent's rant about his keyed Malibu. Too stone cold. Tough guys undone by petty slights. Brilliant, hilarious, and gone. Even Butch's late-night cab ride once lingered on death rituals in Colombia and the curse of violence that stalked his bloodline. Editor Sally Menke begged to keep it, but tempo trumped poetry. Tarantino trimmed until the finished film ran a lean 154 minutes, every scene snapping into the next like a switchblade. Not everything cut wound up in storage. Some reels vanished entirely. Phil Lamar, Marvin, revealed decades later that Tarantino told him point blank, "We're blowing your head off so they'll let me keep the basement." Lamar's fee for 3 days' work, $5,000, a blood-soaked prosthetic, and a career-changing anecdote that still gets him podcast invites. Mystery didn't end in the edit bay. The glowing briefcase, opened 3 times and never explained, turned audiences into amateur theologians. The most famous rumor insists the case holds Marcellus Wallace's soul. Devotees point to the satanic 666 lock combination and the Band-Aid patch on Wallace's neck, supposedly the extraction point in certain folk myths. Cooler heads prefer the diamond theory. Maybe the case contains the stolen gems from Reservoir Dogs, linking Tarantino's universe. When co-writer Avery admitted the prop was originally full of diamonds, speculation exploded. And then there's the Elvis theory, pure internet fever dream. In this version, the briefcase holds Presley's candy yellow lame suit, the same one he wore on a legendary album cover. Tarantino refuses to confirm or deny. The not knowing is the point. The glow is your own imagination reflecting back. While fans built conspiracy webs, Tarantino faced a very real lawsuit. In 2021, he announced a plan to mint 7 NFTs containing never-before-seen script pages and his own audio commentary. Miramax sued within weeks, claiming the digital tokens violated their distribution rights. For months, lawyers flung paperwork like shurikens. By September 2022, both sides quietly settled, issuing a joint statement about future collaboration and sealing the financial terms. The NFTs that did reach buyers contained only scanned text and Tarantino's scratchy tape recorder storytelling. No lost footage. Collectors grumbled, lawyers cashed out. The myth survived. 30 years after Pulp Fiction crashed Cannes and stole the Palme d'Or, the movie is getting a fresh coat of celluloid armor. Paramount has pressed a 4K Ultra HD 30th Anniversary Collector's Edition, complete with Jackrabbit Slim's pop-up art and lobby card reproductions, shipping December 2nd, 2024. Select theaters are projecting newly struck 35mm prints, the same rattling format that stunned midnight audiences in 1994. Phil Lamar, now a veteran voice actor of Samurai Jack and Futurama, marked the anniversary by confirming on stage what fans long suspected: the exploding head footage no longer exists. Whether that's entirely true or another Tarantino sleight of hand remains part of the fun. Financially, nothing about Pulp Fiction should have worked. An R-rated indie with brutal humor, time jumps, and no clear genre label opened on 300 screens, and held its ground week after week, eventually grossing $213 million worldwide on an $8 million spend. Disney executives, suddenly aware their quirky side label could mint blockbusters, gave Miramax a freer leash. Rival studios birthed their own boutique divisions, Fox Searchlight, Paramount Classics, hoping to bottle that talky, blood-spattered lightning. A-list actors followed Bruce Willis's lead, toggling between Oscar bait and micro-budget risks. The industry line between indie and studio blurred until nobody could spot the stitches. Yet numbers feel small compared with the film's cultural residue. Royale with cheese jokes in sitcoms, wallet merch reading BAMF, dance floor. Homages from Tokyo to TikTok. More quietly, Tarantino's editing philosophy, kill your darlings for rhythm, became gospel in film schools. Students talk about the heartbeat, the idea that a movie should feel like it's playing a drum under your seat. If a scene interrupts the beat, you slash it, no matter how brilliant. For decades, Pulp Fiction has been Exhibit A, so will the lost reels ever surface? Tarantino insists the real treasures were destroyed or taped over. Studios swear giant warehouses hold nothing but labeled cans and empty air. NFT bidders are left clinging to scanned dialogue and the echo of a director's laughter. Maybe that mystery is the final magic trick. As long as we don't see Marvin's head burst in perfect HD, we imagine it bigger, redder, louder. As we don't watch the hitchhiker's slow descent into the gimp's leather mask, the basement stays darker in our heads. Some myths die when the missing footage finally plays. Others thrive on absence. 30 years on, Pulp Fiction still feels like a live grenade because parts of it are missing, the same way the glowing briefcase shines brightest when it's locked shut. Tarantino knows it, the censors learned it too late, and every would